Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. My name is Josh Dacey, and today we are joined by Chipola Indians head women's basketball coach, Greg Franklin. Coach Franklin, your team comes off a huge win at home against Tallahassee Community College on Tuesday night, moves the mark to 19-0, 3-0 in conference. What were you most impressed with in the game?
Handling a possession game. We got up early, big, by 12, 14, had chances to go up 16, 18, 20. Missed a bunch of free throws in the first half. Went into the locker room up a dozen. Felt pretty good about that. I was upset about us not finishing some shots and making free throws. It got tight in the second half. Tallahassee shot well from the three-point line. Hit several consecutive ones in the first half to pull themselves closer. And then they did it in the second half as well. I was impressed with Atiana Gilmore. She had 19 on the night. The scoring really wasn't it. I mean, she played a great game, as well as Janisha Lindsay. They both handled their press, kept a calming note for our teams out there, got us into our stuff when it's a little helter-skelter out there. Both teams like to play that way at that frenetic pace, and thought we handled it for the most part. They cut it to 3 with 5 or something to go, and we wound up having a possession game like I was talking about, which we need those because it's not going to be 30-point wins when you're in the tournament, if we get to the tournament. So it's good for us to go through some experiences like that. It's good for us to see man-to-man defense. I mean, the whole month of November and December, all zone defense, all 2-3 zone. So here in the last 2 or 3 games, we've seen man-to-man defense. So that's been good.
Coach, you mentioned man-to-man defense for the first time. Obviously, a lot of non-conference teams played zone. One of the reasons probably because of Evelyn, correct?
That is correct, and they was hoping that we would miss. I mean, I myself wouldn't like to go into a game wishing on something. I like to be in a control-type atmosphere. I like for my team to think that, yes, we're going to stop them. And we had some teams that tried to play man-to-man, and they ran 2 or 3 at Evelyn, and she learned how to kick out of it. And it was, from then on, it was all 2-3 zone. I think we saw it. South Georgia Tech did a little bit. Maybe a couple of possessions from Central Florida, but other than that, we saw all 2-3 zone.
Coach, on Saturday, your team will travel down to Northwest Florida. So currently ranked in the polls, 17-1 overall, 2-1 in conference. What can you expect from the Raiders on Saturday night?
I can expect them to be hyped. I expect them to really be jacked about playing the #1 team in the country because we've got that same punch from everybody. I respect the way our kids have handled that so far. We talked about that today in practice. They're going to get, like I just said, reiterate, we're going to get everybody's best punch. And we don't shy away from that. I like it. Our kids are always ready for that. And guess what? That's something else that will prepare you for the tournament time. Because one and done, people, you're ready to die here on the vine. You're going to fight. Whereas a conference game here and there, some people take a game off, rather sleepwalk sometimes through things. You can't do that in this league, nor can you do it when you're #1 in the country because you got a bullseye on your back, which we relish that. We like it. Coach,
in your last 2 games, you've been able to throw the first punch. You've also been able to hold on tough down the stretch with the girls. What continues to make that happen?
Well, like we were just talking about, we expect everybody's best punch, their A game, if you will. So we're just as jacked up as they are, especially we're seeing these teams for the first time. And, there's a lot of woofing. A lot of people want to say this or say that. And our kids, maybe sometimes I may ignite that fire a little bit, coming in saying, hey, they think they're going to take you out and, this matchup or that matchup. But, when you're so familiar with each other, because we all play in classics together at their places, our places, and they see us and we see them, and knowing we're going to see each other at least 3 times, there's a little bit of rivalry, not just with Northwest, but with Pensacola, with Tallahassee, and with Gulf Coast. When you only have 5 and you see each other 3 times during the year, and you're very familiar, and it's kind of like family. You're around each other all the time, there's going to be some friction. So kind of like that too. Adversity, the 2 things you got to handle in basketball. 2 things. You got to handle, number 1, adversity. If your team can show enough character, integrity, and fight through some adversity, that's the first step. But then once you do that and you start being good and you start winning, success. And right now, you know, battling with success and making things so competitive in practice and making it to where, you know, we have to compete all the time. It's not like we're going to rest on our laurels. We're going at each other's throats every day, just like we want to go at the other team's throats.
Coach, you mentioned adversity. Northwest went through some adversity earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect those kids to be playing with a heavy heart this season?
Yes, I do, and I think that's a good point, Josh. Those kids have been through a lot with each other, and I'm sure it's made them a lot closer together. You know, I remember watching them in the Jamboree and having so much admiration and respect for them after losing their head coach the way he did. You know, just in recent time, they went over and they showed a lot of heart, a lot of character, and performed in the Jamboree that had to be very difficult for them. So my hat goes off to them if I had one on, but my heart goes out to them for the loss and the way they handled themselves.
Coach, thank you very much for your time, and good luck
Thank you.
Saturday.
Appreciate it, Josh.